Hey there everybody. Instead of writing things down this time, I thought maybe I'd take a shot at doing some video. If it doesn't work out, you won't see it. If it doesn't work out, it'll still benefit me. Also, I thought maybe if I was able to do this on video, people out there I know like Rob has to have his wife read the big words, and this will make things a little bit easy for him. So what I've done here, I've sanitized everything as before. Side note, with secondary fermentation, I'm still up in the air about it, but this recipe again calls for it, at least the initial recipe did. And if you want to read more about that, go to the Brewing tab. Honey Porter Part 2 gives my initial thoughts on that at least. Deviating from the recipe a little bit here, what I've done is before going to secondary fermentation on the stove here, I boiled some brown sugar and a slight bit of vanilla with some water for about 5 minutes or so. You need to boil it because it pasteurizes and gets rid of any bacteria or anything that may end up in your beer. So what I'm going to attempt to do without burning myself, is put that mixture in the secondary fermenter first. Sorry if I'm off camera right now. Have everything else ready to go. We have the tube that I use. Here I tend to heat up the ends of it a bit with, or at least the end that's attaching to the siphon, with some hot water to allow it to slip onto the end of the siphon a little bit easier. Like so. I'm going to keep the funnel here this time because last time there was an issue. I was by myself and ended up with a bit of it on the floor, so we're going to go with this method and hopefully it will prevent that kind of stuff from happening. Really what I'm trying to do here is transfer all of the wort into the secondary fermenter while leaving the majority of the little spent yeast at the bottom. And these siphons are pretty awesome, you know, for me, for a beginner. Basically you get it going, a few pumps, and once it's going, all's well. This siphon happens to have a little cap on the end that prevents all the yeast from coming through. A little bit still gets through. You want to stop before the end anyway, but I'll keep an eye on that and we'll be just fine. The interim, before I did that, the lid popped off because I had it off before then. I pulled off a little sample to take a hydrometer reading, which was about the same as I took a few days ago when I made the post. It's still at about 4% alcohol. But for those of you who don't know what a hydrometer looks like, this is my second one because I broke the first one while bottling the previous beer. Basically it floats in, it gives you a gravity relative to water is what you end up with. Subtracting the first number, the original gravity when it first goes into the fermenter, to what I'll end up with just before bottling gives me an idea of what the alcohol level is. So this is really all there is to it. What I'm going to do when I'm done with this is I've sanitized the stopper. I have the airlock over here. The airlock and the stopper will go back on this. I will carry it back up, put it in the bathtub, and wait about another week. And maybe I'll check it somewhere in between to see how the gravity's holding up. But other than that, I'll wait about a week, and then I will do the bottling, and perhaps I'll do that on video. The best part of this automatic siphon, assuming that it's still working, which it is that you can enjoy a beer while you're doing this, which is the porter that I brewed the last time around. So hopefully this will be done, ready to bottle in about a week, which should put it about ready to drink come Thanksgiving time. So that's all for part 2 of the pumpkin ale experiment. Hopefully the brown sugar and vanilla does something. I thought it couldn't hurt. If nothing else, it might give a little the yeast that's left over a little something to eat over the next week and drop the gravity down a little bit more, maybe raise the alcohol a bit. So anyway, that's it. That's all there is to it. Okay, I know I said that was it for part 2, but as a little bonus coverage, since everything wrapped up now, I thought I'd point out a few more things that you might be interested in seeing. So here we go. First of all, this is what we end up with. Stopper, airlock, everything's good. I haven't put the water in the airlock yet because when I carry it, if I do that, it'll suck the water down in, so I wait till I get it upstairs. Second thing, if you're wondering, the sample that I pull off to do the hydrometer reading with, yes, I do taste it because why not? It still tastes good, or it should taste good. You have a good idea. And yes, it's warm and you can swim in Florida still. But what I really wanted to show you, bring this video back, is I've taken pictures of this before, but see how the lighting holds up here. There we go. But what you end up with is this is the yeast. This is what's left in the bottom of the bucket, which is why you do go to secondary fermentation sometimes rather than leave it in and sit with this in it for that much longer. It's a lot thicker this time than the porter was last time, and a lot more of it. So that's it. And now I'm really done with part 2.